Hi and welcome back. In the last video we saw a type of relationship that they were not complementary and only one person was making the big effort to be able to make it work. And we saw that this person was able to do some process of personal growth that could be also through counseling or coaching, where the person was able to discover in that case his or her own pattern on behavior and likes and dislikes, and able to work with that and also to work on the way that the person is responding to the other person. So through that work, the person is able to contribute to the link. But the link has two parts, as we mentioned before. So, but in that case, it's only one person contributing to that. And the idea is to work up to the middle of the relationship, a little bit more or less as it flows. But in this case, the other person was not contributing with almost anything. The person was not doing any process of self-reflection, and as we said, to come to the party and to put his or her part into the relationship. So the other person continues adding more and more, stretching themselves towards the other person, to the point that the person may not be able to do it any longer. And this is because the person gets emotionally or physically ill, or the other person becomes so abusive that the person cannot stand anymore and has to go. So decisions have to be made. We're looking at why a person in this case will stay in a relationship like this and stretching themselves too much to the point that they cannot do it any longer and could even die in that process, emotionally or physically. In another video we are going to look at the roles that people play, and in that case what to do from the role theory. Coming back to this person here, it is likely that the person stays in that relationship for different reasons. The more obvious one is love. I love him or her or my friend so much that I'm going to stay there to the end. Who can we say to that? Sometimes the person might say, I love the other person so much, I dislike what he or she does, but there is love. In that case, it's an important conversation to have, that sometimes love is not enough. It's enough to a certain point, but there is a moment that love has to be shared. Because in this case, the person that is managing the relationship is always the person who shows less love. The person might say, I love you too, but the behavior the person is presented is really far away from just a basic concept of love. So the power, we need to know that in a love relationship, the power is always in the person who is providing to that relationship the least, because it forces the other person to move forward. Again, the power is always on the person who offers less in love. Another reason for which this person might be doing that is because of the concept of must. I must do that. May not have anything to do with love or like, but it's a must. And in that case, the must may be based on religion. I cannot even consider the concept, but any reason to be able to live this relationship is a must, a religion or ideology. Another reason from which a person may not be able to confront the other person in that way is because of role models. We mentioned before about religion or ideology, but sometimes it's not just a religion, it's just the way the thing has been done in the family, in a tradition. So this is what Moreno calls it cultural conserve. It's a culture that is embedded in the family or in the system, and the person may not even cross their mind to be able to change that. This cultural conserve for Moreno is a behavior, a pattern of behaviors that are repeated, ongoing way, and nobody has the possibility to change it. People may be whinging about it, maybe having a sense of complaining, but doesn't have the strength that Moreno calls spontaneity, to have the energy to change that, and they don't have the creativity in what to do, how to face this towards change. There is a video on cultural conserve that you can access and to read more about it. Coming back to this, so we say that this person may not have the capacity, the ability, the skills to confront that person, because the person doesn't have the role developed to be able to do it. But also there are some types, some Enya types or some personalities that the person is unable to confront someone else. You can have a look at that at Enneagram RC for more information. The other issue is emotional and social intelligence. When the emotional and social intelligence is low, that emotional and social intelligence is the awareness of my emotions and feelings and actions, and my awareness of the emotion, feelings of the other person, and how to manage this relationship. If this person has a low level of emotional and social intelligence, this person's awareness of what is happening for that person will be very low. The person is suffering, but is not connecting that this is suffering because of a relational issue. In that case, the person will not confront because it doesn't know what to say, what to do. But it's also the emotional and social intelligence of the other person. I have many cases in situations like this in relationship counseling, when we ask the person, this person here, when we have a partner who has been working so hard in the relationship and nothing is happening, and the person is doing nothing. Sometimes we ask the person, what do you think that the other person is feeling? So I said, I don't know. I said, I don't know. Sometimes she's a little bit cranky or he's a little bit cranky, but I don't know. Because he's not connecting their emotions and behavior to the other person's emotions and behavior. This is low level of emotional intelligence. So, it's very important for us to know that not being able to confront that is not just I don't want to. Sometimes I don't know how to. This is why in Relationship Capital the says, and in the Play of Life is, that is the art to learn how to live life better. A key word is learning. This person hasn't learned yet how to deal with that in a better way. So it's going to repeat that continuously like a cultural conserve. This is so important to have friends and people around who, without pushing the person to make decisions, but to make the person think, do you need to live like this? Helping the person to see you're crying a lot, you're tired, you're exhausted, there's nothing you like to do yet that you can do. Your children are suffering, your friends are suffering. So some kind of a mirroring, are you okay? What can you do? So friends can help the person to see differently, from a different angle. But especially now the Play of Life. What a technique we have in, how are you? And the person says, I'm okay. But in the Play of Life, the person cannot say that. If the Play of Life is applied appropriately, this person is going to portray that. Because this is what is in the brain, especially not in the cortical areas. So when we asked this person, we said, how are you? The person said, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm living like my parents, my grandparents. This is my cognitive bias. I'm okay. This is how everybody lives. Isn't it right? Isn't it like that? But the limbic system, in the limbic system is another story. This story is played there. So this is with the play of life, the person can go and say, how are you in the first scenario, in the present situation, and this will come up. And then of course ideally is, how would you like to live? The person will say, I'd like to have a relationship where we can share this. And the more important thing here is, what is your first step? And the first step may be to confront that person in a different way. That so far this person may not know it. So if this person is confronted appropriately, this person may wake up and say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. And this may be the process by which the person starts learning oneself better and coming closer to the relationship. But sometimes the person may say, I don't care, take it or leave it. Or sometimes the person may be under certain psychological disorders, like narcissism. The person cannot see anyone else but themselves. Another important consideration is the enneatype the person has. So the Enneagram gives us some ideas in why certain behaviors can be understood in that way. For example, like one that has the fear to be wrong, that works in right and wrong, they will see that not staying here is wrong. So they stay because they must follow that. The two, for example, may stay there because their fear is to be unloved. So they are doing the best they can to see if one day I may feel loved. And just look at the Enneagram types, go to Enneagram RC, and you will see more information about that. The other things I will stay here because not only religious pressure but family pressure. And usually the family pressure is based on religion too, very often. So the person stay here and because the family might say, I prefer to see you dead than separated. And this is very common in religion. People may say, I prefer to see you dead than you not following our religion. So all of that is based on ideology. The other one is, well, stay here because of fear. The other reason why I stay here is just fear. The fear could be a fear of loneliness, and I don't feel very good here or safe, but I have somebody to live with, so the fear of loneliness, the fear of abandonment, but also the financial fear. What will happen to me, and especially to my children or my family if I leave? The other one is because of the children. I stay there because of the children. I stay longer and longer because of the kids. All of these reasons and maybe other reasons. But it's very important for this person to know why I'm staying. Not to challenge that, or not to say you're right or wrong, but at least for the person to know, this is why I'm choosing to stay here. And in that case, the person becomes responsible for that. And it's not just the responsibility of the other person, I'm choosing to be here. Now, I'm using the word choice. And I was looking before one, I don't leave. And some people may say, the person is choosing not to leave. Or the person is choosing not to stay. It's important to recognize the concept of choice. Some people are here because they cannot live. They are not choosing. They cannot live in a different way. This is why a counseling process, a coaching process with somebody who is experienced on that is so important for the person to know the best possible way why I'm not living, why I'm staying. In that case, I know that I'm choosing to stay here, not that I cannot live. The other reason that the person is not living is because they don't have any other place to go. In the process of birth, we see that the process of birth from a biological point of view gives us a story, a biological story, that the fetus is moving and then is born in the moment when the utero is not any longer the best place on the best time for the baby to stay there. So it has to go, it has to get out, and this is the process of labor. And the ideal is that after the child is born, there is a container after that in psychodrama is called a social matrix that is welcoming the baby, and a new container continues. Before was a biological container, that is the utero, and now it's a sociological container, and that will grow with the baby. So it's very important for us when we are working with this person, and this is seen again in the process of birth, not to provoke any movement from this person to live until the person could have a place where to go. It's so common to see that somebody might leave that situation but doesn't have another container, and the person will go back again to this place, or will face big depression or even a psychotic crisis, even suicide. So the situation is very delicate, but coming back again, we need to see the person. It is important for the person to know and to say, I can't stay here any longer, because if not I will die. Or the person may say, I don't want to be here any longer, because I feel that I could stay if I decide to, but I don't want to stay here any longer. Because if I stay here any longer, this will be against my own identity, my growth, and I need to go. I'd like to share my personal experience with Argentina. For me, this was me, and this was Argentina in the time of the repression, in the time of civil war. And then Argentina changed and became a democratic country, but many dynamics of Argentina I felt that will never change, and hasn't changed. So I was doing my own counseling. I was going to counseling, I went to group counseling, personal counseling. I was studying philosophy. I was going to church. I was talking to theologians. And from everyone, I was trying to find, how can I stay here? And one day, my therapist, Gogo, that I love her very much, and I'm honoring now in this video, Gogo said to me, Carlos, what are you going to do? If you stay here, you're going to end in a mental hospital, or you're going to end in jail, or you're going to end in a cemetery. This country, or where you are, is making you crazy. What are you going to do? And that makes me reflect that I couldn't stay any longer. And I must say that I felt a lot of envy for a lot of my friends, that they were in the same situation. They were saying the same things I was saying about Argentina, but they could stay. And they blossomed there. They continue growing there. But I couldn't. So in that case, I had to make a decision that was one of the more difficult decisions in my life, but I would never regret it from 1 second. Because it's not that I wanted to go. I couldn't stay there. It was a life or death. So this video is just to touch about certain issues in reflecting about a person that stays, and saying it again, to have a reflection, why I'm staying there? Do I have any other alternative? Do I have any place to go, any other container? And can I consider that process? Do I have the friends or the people close to me that I can share this with? Do I have a person I trust as my counselor or coach to help me with that? Do I have a belief system that is wide enough to contain me in this process without saying you should or shouldn't do this or that allows me to grow and to challenge the situation? In a point that a person needs to make a decision to stay or not to stay or to leave. Maybe one of the more difficult situations the person may face in their life. This is why discernment is so important. Ignatius of Loyola talks about discernment of the spirit. There is a process on which I can go into a process of discernment again, analysis, looking at emotions and thoughts, and also the connection with my values, with what I believe. For Ignatius of Loyola was God, but different people may have different processes in which to assess and discern. This takes time, but it's possible to go to a moment that may be very difficult, very challenging, but I need to make a decision to stay or to go. There is an invitation in life that is in front of you. You have life and death. Choose life. Easy to say, very difficult, and sometimes seems like at the edge of the impossible to make the decision. But when we are at peace and we know that the decision we need to make is right, we are going to have a peace of life. We are going to have peace in our life to make that decision. But it's very important to have people around us as a support, a guide, a counselor, and especially, as we said before, a where to go to, that in that place I will feel contained. In front of us, we have life and death. Let's choose life. For myself, but also for the people that may depend on me. Choose life.